If you follow the advice that I'm about to share with you, you'll be more financially ahead than 99% of students. Because let's face it, school did an absolutely horrible job of teaching us students about personal finance. I remember being told that if you work hard, save your money, and don't buy anything ever, then maybe you could become a millionaire one day. But here's a little secret, becoming a millionaire is actually a lot simpler than you think it is. You might be rolling your eyes, but in this video, I'll be sharing the tips that I took that you can take right now to set yourself on the path to becoming a millionaire by the time you retire, and maybe even earlier than that. Now, I've done a ton of research to figure out this information because I want you to become a millionaire. And don't worry if you're not sure what an HYSA is or an IRA is, because I'll be explaining all of these terms for you in this high-level overview. Now, one of the easiest and most powerful things that you can do to start your millionaire journey is to get a credit card. Now, I know many of you, especially if you grew up in an immigrant family, might think that credit cards are risky, rack up a ton of debt, and that you should stick to using your debit card, which pulls money straight from your bank account. But if you have good spending habits and pay your credit card on time, it can actually be one of your best tools for building your wealth compared to a debit card. And here's why. Every time that you swipe a credit card, the credit card company essentially gives you a small loan that you promise to pay back in full at the end of the month. And as long as you pay on time and in full, then you don't pay any interest. So why is this helpful? Well, first of all, credit cards give you free money. As an incentive to use their services, many credit card companies offer cash back on any purchases that you make, usually around 1 to 5% depending on the card. The second and arguably more important reason is that using your credit card responsibly is really great for building up your credit score. Your credit score is kind of like a financial SAT score that banks use to decide if they're going to give you a loan and what interest rate they're going to charge you. A better score usually means better loan offers and lower interest rates. You might not need this right now as a student, but down the road when you're planning to do things like buy a house or make other big purchases, a good credit score will be crucial for getting you the best rates. And credit cards offer other perks too, like helping to refund your money if your card gets stolen or even extending the warranty on certain purchases. So at the end of the day, if you use your credit cards correctly and pay it in full and on time, you'll not only get free money, but will help to grow your wealth later on in life. Now, as a little side tangent, one thing that I think all students should be doing right now is be making some type of money from a part-time job or some other form of income, even if it might not be a lot. Now, of course, having a job is good experience and can help you to cover other expenses, but most importantly, earning money now allows you to leverage something that not even the wealthiest of CEOs have in as much abundance as you, and that is time. Starting to earn and invest your money right now and then watching it grow over a longer period of time is what truly allows you to grow your money to the greatest extent possible. So even if you're only working part-time right now to balance your job with school, money earned now can grow significantly in the future if you take the right steps, which I'll be sharing with you in a little bit. Another crucial step that you need to take is to open up a high-yield savings account or an HYSA. A savings account isn't really used to grow your money significantly, but it can be a great way to safely stash your cash. The savings account, you can deposit your money and then the bank promises to keep it safe and even give you a small percentage back in interest. A high-yield savings account is especially great if you want easily accessible funds for big goals like a vacation or a car. So what's the difference between an HYSA and a regular old savings account? Well, the simple answer is the interest. A regular savings account might offer something really sad like a 0.1% interest rate, while an HYSA typically earns you around 4 to 5% in interest, which means you earn way more over time. Now personally, I like to use SoFi because it has a pretty good interest rate and it also lets you create buckets for different savings goals. If you want to check it out, I put the link for that down in the description, but definitely do your own research to figure out what works best for you. Now remember that saving accounts are really great for keeping your money safe, but the real growth for your wealth comes in the next step. Now this is one of the most important steps in the video, which is investing, specifically in a Roth IRA. Now despite it being one of the most powerful wealth building tools in your arsenal, people usually write off investing because they think it's scary or complicated. But honestly, it's a lot simpler than you think. Now here's a high-level overview of how a Roth IRA actually works. Now an IRA stands for Individual Retirement Account, which is essentially an account that you use for investing and saving for retirement. Pretty straightforward. And Roth is just the name of the guy who helped to create the account. Now the reason a Roth IRA is so valuable comes down to one word: taxes. Now with a traditional IRA, you pay your taxes when you take your money out, but with a Roth IRA, you pay your taxes upfront and then take your money out tax-free later on. So let's say you invest $1,000 right now and it grows to $1 million by the time that you retire. Now normally you'd have to pay taxes on that $1 million when you withdraw it, which can severely cut into your investments. But with a Roth IRA, you get to keep every single penny of your investments and you don't have to pay any taxes to the government because you already paid it decades ago. Now the Roth IRA is actually so OP that they had to nerf it, which is why it's essential to try to reach that limit every single year. The catch is that your Roth IRA contributions have to come from earned income, which is why I mentioned that getting a job earlier is so important. But once you've opened up your Roth IRA, you can't just expect it to grow on its own. You actually have to pick some investments to put your money into. Now for most students, a simple approach is to just use a 3-fund portfolio. Now this is made up of a domestic total market index fund, an international stock market fund, and a bond index fund. Now a fund is just a basket of different investments, which might include things like stocks, which are small pieces of companies, or bonds, which are loans that you actually pay out, and then after a certain amount of time, you get the loan back plus interest. Now an index fund specifically is just a fund that tracks the performance of a certain market index. Now a popular one that you might have heard of is the S&P 500, which is just an index fund that tracks the performance of the top 500 companies in the US. Now a basic 3-fund portfolio typically consists of about 60% in a domestic index fund, 20% in an international index fund, and then 20% in bonds. Now you can buy these funds through a brokerage account, which is different from a savings account because it's an account that allows you to buy investments. Now some popular brokerages include Vanguard, Fidelity, and Schwab, but definitely do some of your own research to figure out what fits your own needs. Now most experts expect around an 8% return on these types of investments, accounting for inflation. This means that if you invest $500 a year for 40 years, you could end up with over $1.5 million by the time you retire. But if $500 is too much, just start with what you can manage, maybe $100 or even $50. Remember, the power of compounding interest means that your investments will grow exponentially over time. Now, one of the last things I need you to do is to figure out your priorities. Now, Ramit Sethi, the author of I Will Teach You to Be Rich, explains that you should spend extravagantly on the things you love and cut mercilessly on the things that you don't. This essentially means that instead of making a budget that you probably won't follow, you should focus on what you actually value. Maybe that means you love buying coffee every single morning, but you're willing to meal prep to save some money. For me, I enjoy eating out with friends, but I'm fine taking public transit because I don't care about having a fancy car. As you start managing your own money, remember to spend on what genuinely brings you joy and to cut out everything else. To end this video off, just remember that time is on your side, so start now. I know that money can feel confusing or stressful, especially with all of the messages that we get from others about it. But if you're willing to spend a few hours researching and investing in yourself, especially as a student, then that effort will definitely pay off even more than you could possibly imagine. I'm on my own path to becoming a millionaire, and if you start these steps right now, then we can all work towards the rich life that we all deserve. Anyways, that's it for this one. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this different kind of video, and of course, subscribing is always appreciated. Anyways, go out there, start on your journey to millionaire status, and I'll see you in the next one.